Hello again, whiskey friends. I'm Durell, the Whiskey Saint. Welcome back for another Wednesday video, guys. We're going to be diving back into a blind. Just came off of a Dusty Dan win, and I'm chalking it up to all the blinds I've been doing with you guys. Getting me right, practicing. Practice makes perfect. Even though we didn't do perfect, did a little better than I actually anticipated. So I'm going to stick with tradition for maybe the next week or two, dive into another blind with you guys, see if I can maybe pull off distillery, proof, type all that good stuff that I normally try to do on here. So if you're new to that channel, hit that like and that subscribe. We're about to kick this show off, guys. Cheers. Welcome back, guys. And we're just going to dive right in. Got my handy dandy box over here that you guys probably grew accustomed to. We're going to reach in here, pull a sample out, and see how close I can maybe get to nailing this. Been doing pretty well for the most part, but I say that and I'm probably going to pull out something crazy and fail. So added some more samples to it, guys. If you can see, I don't know if it's going to pull it up, but it's probably about half full now. Can't really see, but all the samples are on this side. That's probably why you couldn't see. But they're in there. We're just going to try not to drop it. And pull a sample out of there, guys. I'm going to turn my head, make sure that the label is facing outward for you guys. And hopefully you can see what that says. So I'm going to pour this up. It's actually got some decent color to it. Always amazes me how much a 2-ounce pour is in a Glen. Like, that's pretty hefty. But look at that color, guys. Actually, not too bad. Poured it up into my Big Vic's Glen over here. And we are going to throw this pour into Marty, the Whiskey Noses Glen, so I can't see what it is, guys. And we're going to dive right in. On the nose. Cheers. Some nice funk. Immediately comes across as something that may be age stated, because it seems like it has a decent amount of age on the nose. Nice oak presence. There's not too much there, though. A little bit of oak, some spice. Not super proofy on the nose. But it has like a nice funk. And it's not really that crafty funk. It comes across as like an older oak funky smell. Kind of what you get off of like Jack Daniel's 10 and 12, the Mickers 10, that good oak profile. Enough of that. Let's go in for a sip, guys. So that's different and not what I expected the palate to be. I almost got a cooling sensation. And I typically get that on lower proof things. So as soon as it hits my tongue, it almost cools it rather than giving me that initial like flavor bomb. This didn't come across as something that's over 110 proof. I'm not sure if the proof was on that label or not, but we'll take a peek, towards the end of this. But I'm going to take another sip. That actually caught me off guard. It's a little bit different than I was expecting. This is different. It comes across finished, like a finished bourbon or some type of maybe high malt, something, but it has like an odd taste, not in a bad way, but very different than what I've been drinking, I think recently or as of late. And it doesn't come across as old as the news made it seem. It almost comes across kind of young, to be honest, on the palate. But the nose has some nice like funkiness to it. And I don't know if maybe it is finished and that's due to that fact or not, but that's interesting. Yeah, nice, sweet, dusty oak on the nose, but the palate doesn't translate to that. I'm gonna take one more sip, guys. This kind of got me a little a little confused, not gonna lie. Not actually sure. Like it has some like comes across as like a little bit of like rye spice that can make me think rye, but more leaning towards like a finished bourbon or like a high malted bourbon. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's this one's weird. So I'm gonna throw out a few guesses over there. I'm not sure on bottle whatsoever, but I'm thinking this is right around like 100 proof. I think it's a Kentucky sourced whiskey or just a Kentucky distillery. Like it has a similar profile to some products I've had outside of there. Some Beam turkey, like it Michter's, like it resembles like something from that area. But this has me slightly dumbfounded. So yeah, 100 proof, Kentucky sourced whiskey. I'll go with bourbon, say it's finished, but I really don't have a bottle guess. One more sip, guys. Hmm. Getting like a toasted vibe on it now, too. I don't know. This one actually has me confused. So, yeah, Kentucky guys, 100 to 105 proof, bourbon, finished. Don't have a bottle guess. Really, really curious to see what this one is because I really haven't been stumped like this in terms of narrowing down, the type of distillate or where the distillate came from, in a sense, right? So it's solely a guess, but does remind me of a Kentucky product. I know that's vague because there's so many Kentucky distilleries out there, but let's see what it was. Okay. So MGP, so it wasn't Kentucky. It is indeed a rye. Like I said, it had like some rye spice that would be making me lean that way, but just came across more bourbonish. But it is MGP Sagamore Spirit, Distiller Select, straight rye finished in tequila. So that tequila is what's, I'm guessing, giving it that funky note. So it was indeed finished. I said 100 proof initially, then kind of went 100 to 105. It's 98 proof. So I was pretty much there. State I was obviously off on when I said Kentucky instead of Indiana. And a rye. Like it's surprising that the finish on here kind of hides the rye aspect a bit because the tequila is a little bit overpowering. So it takes away from that rye. Like this would be a tricky one because I'm pretty good at usually picking up ryes. And my first my first thought was bourbon, kind of thought rye, and a little earlier when I said it, but made me lean more towards bourbon. Wow, this was interesting. I'm not even sure who gave me this, but thank you. This was definitely interesting. And I think we were actually just talking about tequila finished whiskeys, and I never had one until today. And this was literally, I think, yesterday that this conversation came up or the day before, which is pretty ironic. But wow, Interesting pour. Not bad, not great. I'm not big on tequila, but I wouldn't have thought this was actually a tequila finish. I would have thought maybe some type of wine finish, which is good on whatever tequila that they used in that barrel, because I do not like tequila. But this was actually an interesting pour. I'm going to take one more sip, guys. I'm going to end this off. It's not a bad whiskey. Seems to actually get a little bit better the more that you sip it, to be honest, and the more air that gets into it. But yeah, I would have never thought a tequila finished dry. Interesting. So I kind of failed on this one, kind of nailed proof. That's pretty much the only thing I really nailed. I was up in the air and everything else, but hey, that's what practice is for, right? You strike out there in practice, so in the game, in the competition, you actually do pretty well. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. We're going to end this here. Cheers.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again.